Good morning, everyone. We're back.
Hello.
And we're here to answer your questions. It's been a wonderful week. I'm sure you guys have been having fun at home. So a lot's been happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things happening. You've seen people walking outside, trying to enjoy this nice weather.
A lot of family time,
yeah.
bike rides.
That's right.
Family walks.
Absolutely. So what do we want to talk about today, Karen?
Whatever's on your list. Prepared items to talk about today.
There's a couple things I want to talk about. Of course, you know, you guys have been hearing some bad news. So the media has been really good at giving you the bad news. And I just thought we'd maybe flip it to give you, there is some good news. And actually Karen showed me some really good documentation on some good news. Do you want to go through some of these points, or do you want me to do it?
Sure, you
okay.
do it.
So there is good news, guys, about this virus thing. Couple things. They're shutting down the temporary hospitals in China that they put up to deal with this issue. So because they're having less cases, I think recently they haven't even had any new cases in the last couple of days, if I'm not mistaken. But correct me if I'm wrong. Also in Korea, South Korea, I don't know about North Korea, but South Korea, the trend is much, much better. Things are getting improved, actually becoming improved. There's even a new, I guess it's an old treatment that was used in the 40s. I'm going to do a video on it. Chloroquine, they use for malaria. They're using that they used it in China, they used it in France, South Korea, with some other different medications, and it looks very promising. Even the United States now just ordered a bunch of it, and they're starting to use it. So I think that's a really positive thing. And I will do a video on that shortly. But relatively minimal side effects. The other thing is, like, people are recovering. In Maryland, there were 3 cases recovered to normal. There was a lady that was 103 years old in China. She was a grandmother. She fully recovered after 6 days. So they also found in the Netherlands, they discovered an antibody that can actually handle this problem. That's exciting. So there's a lot of great news happening, and I think my prediction is maybe a month or so from now, it's going to even be better. So that's very, very exciting. I do want to talk about because I read the questions. People want to know, like, what can they do to support the immune system and that. I want to bring up just this one of my favorite books, and it's this one right here. And it's called The Technology of War. And I just want to mention this. This is the book, maybe you've heard about The Art of War, that book that most people have. This is The Technology of War, which is this guy back, I don't know how many years ago, found that there was a lot of things that were lost in translation, like alterations from the original text. And so what he did is he learned Mandarin Chinese, took him 6 years, and basically created this masterpiece, which is the kind of the exact duplication of the original text by Sun Tzu, who wrote the Art of War. And he found even the name of it was altered. The original name wasn't even the Art of War, it was the Technology of War, which is doesn't leave for any type of interpretations of, well, maybe you can go this way or that way. It's a very specific technology. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because it's an amazing book on strategies in general. And I thought it was appropriate just to bring up because when you're dealing with a virus, it's like an enemy. You want to actually have a good strategy, right? You want to have something that works. But one of the principles that Sun Tzu talks about is that you never want to attack an enemy from their strength. You want to attack from their weakness. And you have different things. You have the strength of a virus. What is the strength of a virus, Steve? What is the strength of a virus? What is their strength?
Well, let's see. It easily passes from person to person, especially in this case.
Good.
And it makes you feel horrible.
Yeah, right. The biggest strength is actually has the capacity to kill certain people, like the elderly and people with pre-existing health conditions. Basically, people with weak immune systems, right? So, of course, viruses have a weakness, and that would be they have a hard time even penetrating people or dealing with people or actually causing problems with people that have a strong immune system. So that is the weakness. So then that gives us a really good strategy. Let's just strengthen the immune system in the elderly and also people with pre-existing conditions. If they could start eating better and things like that, that would be important. But anyway, this is, if you wanted an interesting book, this is one I would recommend. I even put a link down below. I don't get any kickbacks or anything, but the one thing that's cool about this book is that you just read one paragraph, you almost have to take a walk because it's so filled with wisdom and you just have to think about it. It's not like you don't want to read the whole thing from cover to cover. It's packed with great things that you can apply nowadays. But it's one of my favorite books. But as far as what you can do for your immune system, right, I want to talk about that. You want to start cutting down, of course, carbs. Fasting is very, very important. Zinc is probably the most important thing you can do, and I'll be creating a video on that. Vitamin D is another one. The other thing that I want to mention, though, that a lot of people aren't talking about, Steve, is stress. Stress actually activates cortisol, and cortisol actually creates a door or a susceptibility for your immune barrier. So stress lowers your immune barrier. And so when you're constantly being stressed out by watching the news 24/7, that alone can actually create a situation. So anyway, the point is that you want to do everything you can to extract stress off your life, take the nutrition that you need, and bulletproof yourself that way. And that's all I want to say, Steve. I'm sure there'll be more questions.
And you and Karen are so sweet to me. I live without stress.
Don't worry, that I have something to tell you after the show about that, because you've been stressed. No, just kidding.
What's this pink slip?
Right, exactly. I want to go to Maria. She's in Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
Are you there?
Yes.
Hi, what's your question?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, there is a delay from the video. So, hello, Dr. and Mrs. Berg from Geneva in Switzerland. Thank you for disseminating the keto and intermittent fasting message and saving and improving countless lives.
You're welcome.
And thanks for calming the environment and stopping the hysteria with vital data.
Thank you.
I'd love to go to the summit, but my budget is a little bit limited since I started studying and reduced my work. So I have a question about electrolytes, actually two questions. Come the summer and the heat, how many scoops of electrolytes can I take per day?
Okay.
And I know this may be gross for some people, can I do enema with electrolytes?
Okay, good. So when you're doing, of course, an enema, if you lose fluid or you have diarrhea or even you have vomiting, yes, you want to put those electrolytes in. Very, very important, or else you're going to feel weakened. The thing about my electrolytes, it's really good for the average person. But let's say, for example, you're taking it during the summer when it's hot and you're sweating or you're exercising. Either take that formula with some additional sea salt or take the new version I have coming out, which is the sports drink, which has a bit more sea minerals in it, and it's a perfect combination for people that are exercise people and people that are sweating. So that would be my answer on that. And yes, you can take 1 to 2 per day without any problem, and I think you'll benefit greatly from that. Yeah, I hope I answered that. And someday we want to visit Switzerland. We've seen pictures. It's simply gorgeous. We will check that out someday. So thanks for your call. All right, Karen.
Okay, so we have some questions here. Well, the obvious. What are your biggest or best tips for someone with a virus or an illness?
Okay, so, well, the most important thing, of course, is before you start treating anything, or I would get the basics in, get your diet corrected. So, like, I'll get these questions all the time where people go, oh, what should I take for this? Well, are you doing keto and intermittent fasting? They'll go, no. well, then you need to put that in because you want to cut down your carbs. That's the most important thing. And also try to get as much nutrition as you can. That being said, for the immune system, there's 3 main nutrients that are the most important. Vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D. There's a lot of other ones too, like selenium, but those are the most important ones based on the research out there. Did that answer it okay? Is that good? Is that sufficient?
Yes, I mean, obviously, in addition to all the other precautions and just taking care of yourself and washing your hands and not hanging out with people if you're sick. And
in other words, don't sit in front of someone who's sneezing in your face. That would be bad.
Right.
Yeah, that's right, Karen.
Okay, good. So there's nothing like stay away from dairy or anything like that.
Well, there's so many things you can do, but I want to talk about the most important things because, like, you can not eat gluten. Well, that's not on the program. Dairy, yes, you might have some sensitivities to that, but the most important thing is to honestly eat food that's the nutrient-dense stuff. Like, what foods would have the most vitamin D of all the foods? Besides mushrooms.
I don't know.
Fish.
There you go.
And zinc would be the shellfish, oysters.
Oh, and by the way, anything that we say on this show, this is not an effort to treat or diagnose or heal or cure, because that is impossible. That's nothing that we do. This is just information for your own additional research. If you have a virus or something like that, of course you're consulting with your physician and following any protocol. Our suggestions or opinions are just with regard to using food and nutrition to bolster your body, bolster your immune system, and absolutely not to treat or cure or any disease or diagnosis.
Don't forget mitigate. We can't mitigate.
We
either.
can't mitigate anything. If you feel any improvement by following any of our recommendations,
It wasn't us.
It wasn't us.
Yeah, so that's.
And also the information that you hear on this program is anything that you can also research. It just so happens that Dr. Berg spends his entire life researching for the truth about health and breaking it down so that you can understand it. But that is the disclaimer, and we say this in every show, and we'll just keep saying it. So consult with your medical doctor on any illness or injury whatsoever.
Do you have anything else to say about that?
I do. You're talking about food, and it was interesting. Last week I went to the grocery store to buy not the next year's worth of food, just our normal list. And I found something interesting, and that is that there was no meat, there was no toilet paper, there was no milk, there were no paper towels.
Were there canned goods?
I don't know, because I didn't shop for canned goods, but I'll tell you what there was no shortage of. Fresh vegetables. None.
Hey, that leave more for us.
Packed out, beautifully stocked greens. So that is a reflection of the situation. And, you know, what we should be buying and eating really are fresh vegetables, tons and tons of fresh vegetables, and live things. Of course, you need to have some protein in your diet, but just an observation I made.
Yeah, that's right. It's for your immune system, you want to have like a lot of foods that are raw and nutrient dense. I mean, that's the bottom line right there. I agree 100%.
Okay.
And Esther from Oklahoma, she is on the line. How are you, Esther?
How are you, Dr. Berg and Ms. Berg? How are you guys?
Good.
Very good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Okay. I have a couple of questions for you. 6 months ago, when I did my blood test, my cholesterol level was 239. And 3 days ago, my cholesterol level is 268. And my calculated cholesterol was 191. My ratio LDL to HDL was 3.6. Should I worry or not? My second question is, and this will be the last one. When I talked to you last time, I mentioned to you about my C-reactive protein and feed weight being high. And I asked you about carnivore. You said try it for a short time. So I was going to try it for a month. Now, I started reading online, and people are saying don't fast more than 24 hours. And I do fast 42 hours. The other thing is don't take any plant-based things except magnesium, potassium, and sodium, which I take through electrolytes. But I have been taking forever women's plant-based multivitamin and fiber with probiotics. So will that kick me out of carnivore? I don't know.
All right, thank you for your question. Let me just answer the first question, and the answer would be no. No, you don't have to worry. There's a really good test that you can get from your doctor that is more of an in-depth test on the LDL. It measures the different patterns and the particle sizes of the LDL. I would get that test because that will actually give you the data you want. You're going to find that your large, buoyant LDL is going to be plentiful, and your small, dense LDL will be within normal ranges. So that will give you the true story. I think really anyone who's concerned honestly just needs to watch all my videos on cholesterol, because you need the data, because you don't want to rely even on my data. You want to just study it yourself so you actually have it and understand it. I try to make the videos understandable. The next question is your C-reactive protein is a bit high. So I would look for things that you're eating that could be you're allergic to. One thing Karen mentioned is dairy. You could be allergic to either the protein in dairy, casein, or it could be the milk sugar could be creating some reaction, could be causing some type of inflammation. When you're searching out for data on fasting on the internet, you're going to get every single possible piece of information that's going to conflict. So you said, I found this thing on the internet, it said this. Honestly, that's part of the confusion, is that you just have to pick one source and follow them, because you're going to get conflicting data. Someone said you shouldn't fast for longer than this. I mean, it's just like, okay, what's that based on? You're going to get, it's like random.com. So honestly, I don't spend a lot of time just getting general information. So that being said, I hope that answered the question. All right, Karen, let's get some good questions.
Can I read this out loud? It's just a person's testimonial.
Go ahead, yeah, of course.
Well, there's not a name here, so I can't do a shout out to you on YouTube, but says, I tested positive for COVID-19 and over 50 years old with asthma. I fought it off in 3 days on keto and IF.
That's fantastic. And the thing is, like
97.7% of people that get this do fight it off.
Yeah.
And we do have to have perspective with it. Like Dr. Berg said, it is unhealthy people. It's immune system weakness that struggle just like the annual flu. And you can Google this. But over 60,000 people a year in the United States die from the annual flu and flu-related symptoms. It's over 300,000 people worldwide every single year from the flu. It's a sickness that attacks bodies, and sickness will compromise people with a weak immune system. So it's not to minimize any situation in any way, but it is to give perspective that the most important thing now, in addition to handling the current situation, is to build a strong immune system. And that's the message that's been coming from this channel for a long, long time, and we just hope that we get new ears now, because a lot of you guys already, you're learning and you're doing what you need to do, but we hope that your friends and family now have a new interest in listening to that, and getting motivated to make some changes.
This new application of an old drug is called Chloroquine. I'll be doing a video on it, and different countries are using it now. The United States is going to start to use it. And what's interesting about this...
And what's the generic name for it?
Well, I don't know the generic name for it. I think this is the generic name for it, but it's for malaria.
I thought it was quinine.
No.
Okay.
So let me just tell you about what this actually does, because it's mainly for a parasite that a mosquito is carrying around for malaria. So how does it deal with a virus? And that's where it gets really interesting. What it does is they found, first of all, that zinc can stop the copy machine from many different viruses in mice and even humans, but the studies are anecdotal. They're not not the studies, with humans, they're still doing the hardcore studies right now, but they're getting some results. And they basically, zinc is the thing that stops the copy machine. Okay, so it just shuts that thing right down, so that virus cannot reproduce anymore. Here's the problem. Zinc is an ion, which means it has a hard time penetrating the cell wall, which is a fat layer. It's a double fat layer. And so this drug, chloroquine, is called it's called what is it called? Okay, I don't know.
Chances are we're not going to know the word that comes out of your mouth anyway.
I don't actually
Steve?
remember the name, but this is what it does. It has a function of carrying that mineral across the barrier into the cell. So that's how it works. It drives the zinc right into the cell, so this virus can stop. It's so simple. Now even the FDA now is doing some research, or actually working with some people that are doing research on using someone's own plasma that was infected, that recovered, as a treatment. I mean, that makes total sense as well to me. So this is all good news, and I think there's enough bad news out there that we need to switch it a little bit and offset this bad news for a while. And that's all I'm saying, Karen, and I'll zip it.
Okay.
Natalie from Bowie, Maryland is in the house. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Dr. Berg. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I was just diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and so I just immediately went to all your videos, and I saw that you were recommending selenium, zinc, and cod liver oil and the vitamin D. I have the cod liver oil. I have the vitamin D. I'm wondering if your new Trace Minerals Advanced has enough of the selenium and the zinc to use that, or do I need to take those additionally separately?
Got it. Good question, and I just want to make a disclaimer. Any of my products they do not cure anything. That's what I'm saying. So you can get zinc from anywhere. I do have a product that has extra zinc and has extra selenium, and it's the Advanced Trace Minerals. I think 2 of those a day would give you sufficient amounts, basically. But I spiked it with some additional trace minerals in addition to the blend of trace minerals. And the reason I did that is because I just, the challenge is that when anytime you take one specific trace mineral and not the other ones, you can create an imbalance. Like zinc works with copper, and so, yeah, so I would just take 2 a day if I were you. Thanks, Natalie. And let's see, we have Michelle from Houston, Texas. You had a question. Go ahead, Michelle.
Good morning, Dr. Berg and
Good morning.
Mrs. Berg. Thank you for the work that you do. I started keto and intermittent fasting on March 1st, and I have the wheatgrass juice and the electrolytes, powder, nutritional yeast, and digestive formula. Also on March 1st, I stopped taking the omeprazole that I've been taking for forever. And doing well, feeling well since March 1st, except because I'm not taking that reflux medication, I'm having discomfort. And I'm down to 1 meal a day just because I don't want to deal with the discomfort. My question is, what are your thoughts on ways to mitigate that while my system is healing? And I do understand, and I'm trying to not have fear about it, but I do understand that my body is just trying to adjust, and it's going to take some time.
Yeah, I think one of the best things you can do for what you have is you want to make sure that you have foods that naturally have probiotics, like sauerkraut, fermented vegetables are wonderful because that gives you the prebiotic and the probiotic together. Kill two birds with one stone. So it feeds the microbes and it gives you the, also it'll give you vitamin C as well. The other thing that you can do, cabbage is probably one of the, I forgot about that. Cabbage is like, hands down, the easiest thing to digest when you have any type of GERD or acid reflux. It just seems to digest. There's a factor in cabbage, it's called the U factor, they used to call it vitamin U. And it's just good for ulcers in the small intestine, ulcers in the stomach, irritation, acid. It's a good thing to digest. Coleslaw or just cabbage in your salad. There's a lot of other things, like licorice is good for that, but don't start doing like baking soda, anything like that. And then just give it some time. These things do take a bit of time, and then you'll find over time it'll actually get better. The reason I say is because if I set you up for this idea like, oh, it's going to be 2 days, no, it's going to be time. That way you're patient, and that's why we call you a patient. And you go and sit in the waiting room. All right, let's get some questions on social media because I feel like there's a lot of questions and not enough answers.
Okay, good. So I think it's Niraj from India who's joining us on Facebook today. Has been doing keto but feels some anxiety. Gets, I don't know how else to say it. On keto, what could help with that?
That's the no-brainer. I like these easy questions. Finally, I get some easy ones. It's B1. It's B1. That's all you need to do. Add some nutritional yeast. That's the best source, natural. Don't get the synthetic. And you're going to find that you're going to feel like this wonderful relaxation, calm come over you. So the B1 is needed for people when they do keto as the transition because it's involved in the metabolism of energy.
What about the mitochondria supplement that has the B? Is that more B1 than nutritional yeast? Or?
The mitochondria energy, which is now called it's called the keto energy. I just changed the name to make it, because people I think don't know what a mitochondria is. So it's the same formula, but yes, what's unique about that is I put 3 different types of B1 in there. And one is like a really high-end, expensive one because I wanted that in there, but you know, it's just something I had to have in there, but it's high quality, and you know what's interesting about that? I get 0 returns on that product because people like it and it works, especially when they exercise.
I will tell you an experience I had with that mitochondria energy, keto energy, whatever it's called now.
After the break? No, go ahead.
After
go
the
ahead.
break?
I'm just kidding.
Do we break?
No, we don't have a break.
We're back from the break.
Thank goodness. I was lying down to go to sleep. I had had kind of a stressful week, not really the sleep I should have, and I was having, which is unusual for me, like dreams and thoughts, and my mind was going and running and running. And I took the keto energy, mitochondria energy, and I was lying there, and like someone flipped a switch.
Mm-hmm.
It was running, and all of a sudden, boom. Total silence.
Wow, that's cool.
Total, and then I immediately fell asleep. But it was so obvious because I was aware of this thoughts running, and so that was really, really cool. So if people have that, the day or other thoughts or dreams or whatever else happening, running, I would try that if I were you.
I tell you, like I used to have that too. There was like this party going on in my head before I'm going to bed, like going, and I didn't. This is a long time ago. I didn't know the connection with B1. That I was just severely deficient in B1. Of course, I don't know why. I mean, I was eating a pint of ice cream a night, and a bag of Doritos, and corn chips and whatever. But I would, I was like, what is this coming from? And what's up with these restless legs and this pounding in my ear and all these different things? And then when I stumbled on that information, it was like, quiet. I don't think I actually have anything going on now in my head anymore.
Nothing going on up there.
It's just quiet up there.
There we go. There you have it. Hey, so can you do keto if you have no gallbladder?
Good question. Yes, you can. You just might be a little deficient in bile, so you might need to add some to the picture. You can add some purified bile salts. Gallbladder formula is a good one, and then just kind of go easy on the fats. Like, you wouldn't want to necessarily add like a ton of like extra butter and oil. Just eat the fat within the normal food. But sometimes if you don't have the bile and you add that, you might get burping, belching, bloating underneath the right rib cage, and it might shoot up to the right shoulder. Anything right shoulder, neck up through here is gallbladder. Also back here in your around your scapula, right here, Karen, right there. Just tell me when to stop. That's liver gallbladder. Just means you need to tweak the diet. You know, sometimes like even you go to a restaurant, or I'll come home and sometimes I'll notice like this little zinger on my right scapula. And I'm like, okay, where do we go? Oh, we went to dinner. What did I eat? Oh, I had some mysterious food or something that could have had some oil in it that doesn't do well with my body. So I can pick it up like that. So
there you have it.
yeah.
Good. So does keto, doing the keto diet, can it influence the thyroid in any way?
Yeah, if you do intermittent fasting and keto, sometimes you're going to find that your thyroid hormones go down, specifically T3, and you might be concerned, but you have to realize that ketones are a much more efficient fuel than glucose, which means your body's going to work more efficiently. Your metabolism is going to work better. The need for thyroid hormone will go down. The way they diagnose a hypothyroid case is not from T3. They look at the hormone from the pituitary down to the thyroid. It's called the thyroid stimulating hormone. And that always stays in a normal range. So unless that goes down, you really don't have anything to worry about. Just keep going. Same thing with like blood sugars. As your body adapts to ketones, your blood sugars go down, like sometimes even as low as 60, even lower. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have hypoglycemia. But do you feel bad? No, I feel great. Well, guess what? You're not running in sugar anymore, so you don't need that amount of sugar. You're running in ketones. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Karen.
Okay.
Any other questions over there? Coming?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Lisa on Facebook, she wants to know what's the best way to recover or replace healthy bacteria if you do something that results in a clean out of your bacteria, like.
You can get it from both an external source as a product, or you can get it from the food, like sauerkraut, fermented vegetables are good, but not just necessarily like when something's pickled doesn't mean it has all the friendly bacteria, but sauerkraut usually does. Some kefir maybe will help you. If you're going to take probiotics, of course, I'm not biased, but I would take mine. But also over time, it's good to rotate your friendly bacteria to different types of strains. It helps to create diversity and diversify things.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And you mentioned sauerkraut, and when I was at the grocery store where there was no meat and toilet paper but tons of vegetables, I bought a bunch of sauerkraut.
I saw that.
They have different, blends of sauerkraut in the vegetable section. And why did I buy a lot of sauerkraut?
Because of vitamin C.
Right. And how much vitamin C does sauerkraut have?
Some tests showed 700 milligrams per cup.
Of naturally occurring vitamin C.
Yeah.
Not just ascorbic acid.
Right.
Which is just one portion of the vitamin C.
Right.
If you eat tons and tons and tons of ascorbic acid, it'll, like you were referring to earlier, it'll have to pull from your body the other components of a natural vitamin. It's like a pizza. The vitamins are like a pizza, and it has.
It's a good analogy.
and it has, you know, the crust and the sauce and the pepperoni and the mushrooms and whatever,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
right?
I like where you're going.
You like what? You picking up what I'm throwing down? So in a vitamin C pizza, ascorbic acid is only the outer crust. So when you buy ascorbic acid as called vitamin C, and it's just ascorbic acid, that's what you're eating. So your body's going to have to pull from other places the rest of the crust and the sauce, and so it's not the best. It's not the best, right? But sauerkraut is filled with vitamin C. Now, why is that important right now?
Because vitamin C is, it actually increases your white blood cell, and it actually increases the resistance to pathogens, and it's well studied. And when you are infected, it kind of zaps up your reserve. So your immune cells, especially the white blood cells, can't do their job as well. So it's a really important one to beef up, no pun intended, your vitamin C levels. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And now that you brought up pizza, now Steve's hungry over there, and I'm thinking about pizza. I think what I'm going to do later today is I think I'm going to make a keto-friendly pizza.
That would be great.
I think I'm going to do that now
But
that you're bringing it up.
Make a few, because with all the people in our house.
Yeah, and the neighbors. So, yes, I'll be making a few.
Good. Now, Terry on YouTube has been on keto and lost 100 pounds.
Wow, congratulations.
Okay. Bud is bloating now with every meal. Gas and bloating.
Well, there's a difference between bloating and gas. Okay, so if you're
Okay.
bloating, of course, if you're doing one meal a day, a lot of times people try to eat this huge meal. And so I wouldn't necessarily go by calories, but it's a judgment call of eating enough food, nutrient dense, but not going overboard where you're too uncomfortable. But a little bloating initially, I think is okay, especially if it goes away within a half hour. That being said, if you get gas, that tells me that you're eating something you're not able to digest, or you need more stomach acid, in which case you would want to take betaine hydrochloride or apple cider vinegar. The other thing is that you could be consuming like some sugar alcohols in there that create gas, so watch out for that, and some other foods that you might be allergic to. So that's just an extra freebie on that one. Yeah.
Got a freebie.
Yeah.
It was doofer.
Okay. Hey, Brooke, you're from Phoenix, Arizona. You had a question. You actually lost a lot of pounds. How much did you actually lose total?
Good morning, Dr. Berg.
Good morning.
And good morning to your beautiful wife. Yes, my name is Brooke. I'm calling from Phoenix, Arizona. I am 42 years old. I used to weigh 465 pounds. I lost 310 pounds with your content.
Are you kidding me?
You lost. Wait a
No,
second.
that gets a long
second.
bell.
Wait a second.
That gets a really long
Wait a
bell.
second. You didn't lose 100 pounds. You lost 310 pounds?
310 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. And this past year, I put on 27 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
And I want to thank you for your content about not looking at the scale, because if I didn't have that, it would have drove me crazy. And you told me my body's just taking care of business and repairing itself, and that's exactly what it was doing. So thank you for that. My question this morning is, what is the difference between atrophy and loose skin? Will the skin eventually repair itself? And what's your opinion on reconstructive surgery?
Yeah, I think there's a time and a place for reconstructive surgery, especially after you exhausted everything that you're doing. But here's the thing. I recently went to the low-carb Denver Keto Convention, and I ran into this lady who showed me these before and after pictures, which I'm going to put up on the website. And she showed the loose skin over the months going away to the point where it was nice and firm and tight. And what she said is what you have to do is you have to do consistent exercise aggressively and give it more time. That's her main thing. And she does fasting as well. But I was like, wow, that was amazing. So you have the loose skin, which is different than atrophy. Atrophy is going to be mainly in the muscles where you're getting a loss of muscle, especially after menopause. So now it looks like fat, but there's less muscle. It's just loose tissue. The reason why that is is relates to, I guess, the next topic I was going to even mention is that during menopause, your cortisol goes up. That's the stress hormone. And cortisol / stress, same thing, will make you fat. Why? Because cortisol raises glucose, your blood sugars. There's been diabetics so many times that have told me, like, wow, I go through stress and I can just see my blood sugars go straight up. Like, that's fascinating. So why? Because the liver dumps sugar, number one, when you're under stress. Also, your body is making more sugar, and your body is now converting protein into sugar, like insulin. So you're going to get fat through that. So people are talking about carbs, 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 right? Well, guess what? Stress also can make you fat, and also destroy your muscles. But other than that, it's actually totally fine. It won't even affect you. But thanks, Brooke. I hope you come to this the summit coming up in August.
Yeah, I hope we have your before and after photo. And if you are coming to the Keto Summit, definitely let us know. Shoot an email to Dr. Berg at drberg.com.
Yeah, drberg@drberg.com, and send us your before and afters. I would love to actually have a featured success story, because that's like that's something that everyone needs to know.
And then make sure that you're taking pictures of yourself now as you're working on your skin and things like. I mean, it's completely up to you, but I was just doing some research on this too, and there are people that completely recover their skin. Skin's an organ, and it, especially if you're young enough, and you are to have it recover and heal. That's amazing. It'll give people.
Well, I feel amazing, and thank you, Dr. Berg, for reminding me to ask myself that great question is, how do you feel? And I feel great. I feel amazing. I feel healthy and well, and I appreciate your content. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Brooke. Appreciate it. Wow, that was incredible.
Yeah.
I do want to mention we do have a new product here, and this is the vitamin C. And I do want to give you a disclaimer. This is not meant to cure any viruses, FYI. It's to support a healthy immune system. Let me just tell you what's unique about this right here is that it basically... What? It's just right up here.
Yeah, but the camera's over there.
It's right here. I'm turning right there. See that? Here, take one. These are chewable. And what's interesting about this is that they're just 4 different ingredients. And acai berry, okay, it has and then it has acerola cherry, which has probably one of the highest amounts of vitamin C of all the berries. Blueberry and strawberry, that's it. Just combined, there's no added flavoring or anything like that. So it's a really good product if you want a vitamin C. We've been giving them to Lucy, who's just baby Lucy, and she loves them. So to your kids, adults, you just need one a day. They're awesome.
If you can keep them away from your kids and your grandkids.
Yeah, because I want, here's...
Can you have too many?
No, but here's the thing. I personally, I like taking vitamin C, and I've tried to find one that I like, and I couldn't find one. I prefer the chewable, but there's other good ones out there. But this is the one that the chewables always have some extra stuff in there, like sweeteners or extra flavorings. So I just wanted like the 4 top berries on the planet just squished into one tablet, and you chew it. We've been working on this for like 6 months to get the taste just right and the texture and everything. And it's all freeze dried and organic ingredients. So it's really good. And I'm excited about it because for myself, because I created it for myself.
It has the baby Lucy seal of approval.
Yeah.
She will find them.
Oh yeah, she'll just every day she's like, okay.
She loves them.
Well, I tried one earlier, and I was just waiting around hoping Dr. Berg would give me another sample, but so far...
Oh, he's holding out?
We may after that pink slip that...
Yeah. Severance pay a bottle, half a bottle.
Right. Hey, Tracy, you're calling from Indiana. Are you there?
Yeah.
Hi,
yeah, I'm here. Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
I'm doing great. Thank you for all the great content you've put out over the years. Really appreciate that. My question is about angioedema, particularly hereditary angioedema. I don't know if you've heard of that. My fiance was recently diagnosed with that. Didn't know if you had any insight on that. 'Cause I'm kind of wondering, is this an inflammation issue? Is it an autoimmune issue? Just not sure.
Got it. Okay, good question. I just will say that I have had patients come in with that, and you always try to help support them with different things. And I will be honest, I have not been successful dealing with that. I don't know exactly, especially when it's genetic. I really don't know what to do with that situation, other than put in the no-brainers, like the things that actually establish a really healthy eating plan, like the healthy keto and intermittent fasting. Other than that, I can't tell you I have something that can improve it. But definitely put this person on the standard thing that we recommend for everyone. And I also tell this as a kind of a principle, before you start to go off and address any symptom, get the basics in healthy keto. For those of you that are new, that don't know what we're talking about, you need to go to drberg.com under the blog and watch the first video. It says start here. And then the second one is the second video. And the third, I put them in order. It's, I think kind of this recent virus thing is a wake-up call for people. Like, it's time, if you've been on the edge and you really haven't started to get healthy, it's time to get your act in and start eating healthy immediately. Not just for yourself, but people around you too. Because it's like, it's always the guy in the plane next to you that's hacking, coughing, that all of a sudden now you get something. So I think if we all agree that we get our health super healthy, then it works. And it's not hard, it's simple, but it's time to step it up, people.
It's time. It's its own, this is sort of a wake-up call for people who, I'll eat what I want, I'm going to die of something, I'm thin, that means I'm healthy.
When I get older.
I can't tell you, honestly, the number of calls and emails we get every week from people who want to know what to do now because they just found out they have some serious illness.
Like cancer.
Cancer and, all kinds of things happening, renal failure and all kinds of metabolic disease. And that's just, it's never too late to make a change. And that's a way you can be cause. But it's really, sometimes it is too late. And some things you can't reverse. And
I think if some people actually would just get the data that we have as far as information coming in and just hearing some of these stories, they would be very aggressive in changing their diet compared to maybe other people that might not hear this. But I mean, it's like, wow, it's very important to take action.
Right. No, I just wrote a note for myself.
Yeah, and the other thing I think people are lost on is that, okay, well, this will make me feel, or rather will keep me healthier or ward off certain issues later, is that when you're jacked up on sugar, as I have been for a long period in my life, and now come to a point where I'm eating properly and intermittent fasting, I'm experiencing a sense of peace each day that I didn't know existed. So it's not just because I'm worried about I sort of share that idea. I'm an older guy and I know I have a finite amount of time left, but why live it in misery? I'm really feeling good on a day-by-day basis by eating well, regardless of what I might look like physically. So people don't get that until
and you're looking good.
Well, thank you, dear.
Yeah,
I was fishing for that.
That's one benefit I think that we need to emphasize is like your mood elevates on keto and especially intermittent fasting. Your mood comes up. So that's huge.
It's huge.
And anxiety and that stuff, it's like, yeah.
And right. And look, we live in a world where there's always something going on. And thanks to the news, you're only ever going to know about the really bad news. And then you have life, and you have family, and you have your own work, and life can be a busy, busy place with a lot of potentially stressful stuff going on. But how does one guy seem to move through the news or the stressors of life and come out fairly unscathed, and another person get a little bit of bad news and be a mess and be stressed or get sick, and one factor is your own personal health and physical strength and immune system and ability to handle stress. Can your body handle the stress or not? So sure, there are other things, people will use and need to use, and emotional, spiritual, mental, whatever, but absolutely the body and the strength of the immune system has a huge role in that. So wouldn't we all like to handle our day and the news of the day or whatever is going on much more easily?
I mean, the real question is the test to know how your adrenals are functioning is, are you able to tolerate about, 13 or 14 young children in a room for over 8 hours at a daycare center and juggle a whole bunch of other stresses? How can you handle that? Can you handle slow drivers for more than an hour patiently as you drive around town? That's the real test. And if you can, you passed. If you can't, you need some serious help.
There you go.
All right, so let's go to Chris from Illinois. He's been waiting patiently. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Dr. Berg. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
My big concern is my blood sugar is staying high. This last night it was 172, but this morning was 198.
Okay.
Now, I've been diabetic for over 15 years. I've been on at least 9 different pills. Last August, I started on insulin. As soon as I started on insulin, I started gaining weight. And that's what really worried me and made me start looking around. So December 26, 2019, I started intermittent fasting. I started with a 5-day fast, and I also started a keto diet. Mm-hmm. So right now, my schedule is fasting Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and I eat Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I generally break my fast with a couple hard-boiled eggs and bacon, and then a large salad with everything in it. Mm-hmm. But I guess I've been diabetic for so long, it's going to take some time for my system to straighten out. But what really worries me is the high blood sugar. I'm afraid I'm going to have some kind of damage if I keep having such high blood sugar readings.
This is a really good question. I have one question for you really quick. I want to ask a very simple question just to see how much you know about insulin. What's the things that trigger insulin?
Stress.
Okay.
Sugar.
Yep.
Eating.
I've
been watching your...
Good. You've been watching. Good. You passed that, but this is the thing that I think that you may want to tweak. It's your pattern of fasting. You're doing a pattern that's very common. A lot of people do this, but I would do more of a consistent intermittent fasting every day versus the way you're doing it, where you're eating like 3 days a week and then not eating the other days. This way, you could fast for a longer period of time. Like I don't know, on the days that you're eating. How many meals are you eating on the days that you're eating?
Well, I've sort of been changing that a little bit because with this coronavirus, my schedule has changed because everything's closed down.
Right, but roughly.
I normally broke my fast around 10 o'clock, and then would eat a little bit at 6.
But on the days that you're eating, how many meals a day are you eating?
Just 2.
Okay. So what I would do, I would change your pattern. I would eat 1 meal a day consistently through the whole week, and then reevaluate after 2 weeks how you're doing. Make sure that watch my video on other things you can do to support insulin resistance, because that's the videos that you should study on my blog post. You'll find them there versus YouTube. Some great data on insulin resistance. That's what you're dealing with. But I would do it, and then what I would do is I would probably keep it in every day, 1 meal a day, and then I would try to offset and maybe go a few times a week every other day just to get things stabilized, because I think you just need a good reset and let your pancreas have a chance to chill out. And I think that's what you're missing. Long walks, exercise are going to be important too, but there's a lot of additional things you can do. Try that, Chris, and let me know. All right.
Just a note, Ronald's asking where to get the vitamin C, drberg.com.
Yeah, it's posted.
And it is not ascorbic acid, as a clarification.
Oh, right.
That is synthetic vitamin C.
Yeah.
And that is not what you want unless there's some pharmacologic reason that someone decides you need that in a treatment of something. But if you're looking for a whole food vitamin C, that's what we recommend, it's drberg.com.
Yeah, and one point about that, 98% of all the vitamin C that is sold comes from China, and it's GMO. It's from corn syrup and sulfuric acid. So, you know, I have a hard time believing that that's the same thing as a food-based vitamin C. I have a hard time believing that.
Right.
But it's in most of the products out there, and you're thinking you're getting a good vitamin C when you're getting some...
It's interesting, right, that somewhere along the line, vitamin C, you were allowed to call just ascorbic acid vitamin C. And then it became lab created from petroleum and different strange cornstarch and things like that. So you want vitamin C, you want food. So that's...
Yeah, food or food-based. Hey, Jim, you're from Minnesota, land of a lot of different, lot of lakes. You have a lot of water.
I thought you said legs. Like
lakes.
There's a lot of legs in Minnesota.
Yeah. Hi, Jim. Are you there?
I think Karen is right. I'm going to look for those.
I just remember a lot of mosquitoes there when I was there in the military, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, I started out my journey at 230 pounds.
Wow.
I got up to 230 pounds because of a lot of doctors that gave me recommendations that had me put on more weight. So I simply just walked away from them and found you, and now I'm down to 180 pounds.
Wow.
And I want to go, thank you. And I want to go towards my goal of 170, and do you have any tips for the last 10 pounds?
Yes, I do. There's a couple things you can do. I'm assuming you're doing it like I'm talking about in my book, and if not, I would just follow that protocol, but there's a couple of adjustments here. Of course, you know, you can always work on your stress level, bringing that down. You can increase your exercise, which I highly recommend. I would do a full body hardcore workout twice a week, probably not more than that. Let your body recover. Very, very important. I would also try to squeeze out a little more sleep per day, maybe another half hour per day. That will help you hugely. Also, your fat content in your diet. What you'd want to do is bring that down to 75 grams. And you'll find that your body will start burning more of your own fat than the dietary fat. So that's important. And then bring the carbs down to maybe 10 grams or less. There's a good program I have that's called Keto on Steroids. You can watch that. It's online. It's a video that I just talk about the hidden carbs. Make sure too that there's nothing bloating you. That's important. And then the last variable, which is you can play around with, is just to do longer fasting. And then you will hit your goal. I promise. I will guarantee you will.
Put your life on the line?
I will give his money back. That's right. It's free advice.
Oh. So, yeah, and by the way, Ruth on YouTube.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim, she said the mosquito is Minnesota's state bird.
Well, listen, we have mosquitoes in Wisconsin, too.
Oh, and getting a flurry of people saying the vitamin C is not yet on the site. Yeah, because you're the first to know. Nobody else in the world knows about this but you. It's a secret.
It will be up today.
It will be up
I probably
today.
prematurely told people about it, but
he can't keep a secret. He can't keep a secret. But you guys know, yeah, just keep going back to the website and you'll be able to grab it today. On that note, it is 11:59, and you know what? You said a month or so things will get better. This is my prediction. 3 weeks. Yeah. 3 weeks, and we're just going to see a massive downtrend, relief, adjustment back. You're already starting to see in certain parts of the world this is happening. That's my prediction.
I'm making a note, Karen.
Write it down.
I'm
So
writing it
that
down.
we can all have a wonderful summit.
Well, we're going to have a great summit, and it's like a half a year away. Everything is going to be fine.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet you guys at the summit
gonna be
because
fun.
I was at the Denver summit, met a lot of people. It was just great. I can't wait for
And I would
you
just
guys
say,
to-
we have to wrap up because it's 12 o'clock right now, but at the Denver summit, the really cool thing is that it was completely medical doctors.
It's a lot.
A lot, okay, I those all, but almost all medical doctors that are using and forwarding this technology. So that is a lot of good news for us and our country.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're over time. Have a great week.
See you next time, guys.
Okay.